There is indeed an object coming close to Earth that has been dubbed a second moon, but it is a temporary mini-moon. This small asteroid, named 2024 PT5, was discovered recently and will orbit Earth from late September until November 2024. It's part of a class of near-Earth objects, NEOs, that occasionally get captured by Earth's gravity for short periods. This event isn't a unique occurrence, as Earth has snared mini-moons before, such as in 2022. After about 2 months, 2024 PT5 will escape Earth's pull and resume orbiting the Sun. Regarding more speculative ideas, some have connected events like these to mythological or prophetic entities, such as Nibiru or Wormwood.
Hello my friends, this is Alien Contactee Linol Anderson here with you guys with a brand new YouTube BitChute video. And in today's video, as you can see with that beginning clip there, apparently tomorrow, as I shoot this video right now, it is September 28th, but tomorrow, September 29th, there is going to be this big mini moon situation here. They're saying the Earth is getting a new moon for 2 months. And this has sparked a lot of people to come up with a lot of crazy theories, like crazy things are going to take place, apocalyptic type events, or maybe it'll be like, you know, how the moon beams that intense energy down at us, which is usually low vibrational, which is why they call people lunatics, because of the luna, right, lunar. They're saying, well, it's going to be ×2 now because there's going to be another moon. I've seen a lot of people talk about this stuff, so we're going to get into if that's what this is about today, if that's what's going to happen, and also if this is connected to Nibiru, possibly interdimensional extraterrestrial beings. And we're also going to look at another big event that many people aren't talking about that's coming later on in October, that has to do with the alignment of the planets and what all this really means, being as we are in a matrix simulation and reality isn't what you think it is. Okay, so let's just get right into all that. If you enjoyed today's video, hit that subscribe button. As I say, subscribe to survive, and also smash the like button. Helps old Linol out with the algorithms. Alright, so I think first things first, we should look at a little bit more information about this mini-moon, how it's actually an asteroid, right? And something that a lot of people are leaving out about this mini-moon. And you'll see in the video. Take a look.
New Earth update just dropped. We're getting another moon. And yes, this is 100% real. Starting September 29th, 2024, for at least 2 months, our planet will have an extra moon. Last month, scientists discovered something peculiar in space heading towards us. An asteroid about 10 meters in diameter paying us a visit from our solar system's Arjuna asteroid belt. And it's going to join our moon in orbit for a little while, known as a NEO, a near-Earth object. Called 2024 PT5, it's going to complete almost a full orbit around us, doing a loop-de-loop over the course of 2 months, officially making it a temporary moon by definition, before getting launched back out and the sun's gravity takes over its orbital path again, as it was going a little too fast for Earth to fully capture it for good. Now, before you get all excited for a potential twin moon night sky, a reminder that this thing is about the length of a school bus. And no, not the short bus that I usually ride, a full-length school bus, which means it's going to be too small for anyone to see with the naked eye and even amateur telescopes. Yeah, you're going to need one of these hefty bad boys to see it. Anyone got one they could spare? As for the rest of us, we're just gonna have to trust NASA that it really is up there when it arrives. Do you really think it is an asteroid, or maybe an alien spaceship doing some recon on us? Or is it a little too convenient that none of us are even gonna be able to see it?
There you go, my friends. That's Philip Zeba, I believe his TikTok is. He makes some good videos. But as you could see, he brought up a good point about an alien spacecraft. We're going to be talking about that in just a little bit here. But first I want to address, this thing is very small. So all these people who are saying, oh, it's going to create these earthquakes and tsunamis and the energy is going to be so intense and as if there's a second moon, well, they forget to mention that this object is very small. As he said, the size of a school bus. But it's very interesting, the exact size that they're saying in these news articles is 33 feet long. That's right, 33. They always love to use the old 33, don't they, my friends? So very interesting indeed. I don't think it's going to have as big as an impact as people are thinking due to that being so small. But with that being said, I don't think it's just nothing at all. I do believe it's something more than what people understand it is, okay? So we have to take a look at the concept of asteroids, comets, and whatnot. A lot of people who are on the awakening journey, they'll completely write that off because, they've went down the flat earth path, and which they're not far from the truth with that either. They say space is fake and all that, and there is elements of truth to that. What people have to realize is we are in a simulation. It's not that the earth is flat, it's more so we are in a holographic simulation of consciousness. And yes, there is a dome, or whatever you want to call it, a firmament. Okay, it's just the boundaries of the simulation, pretty much, the frequency barrier of the simulation, okay? But that is there, and no, the way NASA makes it seems like there's a big asteroid belt with floating rocks flying around, that is incorrect. So to think that a big floating rock is just going to come and get sucked into the orbit and going around, you have, if you think that's BS, well, that's probably because it most likely is BS. But that doesn't mean that nothing is going to happen at all. You see, NASA likes to give us bits of truth mixed with the disinformation. And once you understand the true nature of reality and what these things actually are, then it makes more sense. So what you guys got to realize, okay, is that what I believe a lot of these asteroids are is, there's obviously stuff that could come down, fall from the sky, and smash into the ground because we found meteorites, okay? And a lot of times the elements that are on there don't even come from Earth, okay? That's a fact. I have a little meteor stone myself that somebody gave me once, okay? So what are these things? Well, my friends, what it comes down to is the planets that you see and a lot of these stars and the constellations and whatnot, they're actually holes in the firmament, or you could say portals in the firmament, okay? And beings from outside the simulation, okay, can enter through these portals. And if they could enter, they could also send stuff through to come down to the earth and whatnot. And, it's very interesting a lot of times, and even in biblical literature or even in movies and stuff, you'll see them telling you that a lot of these things coming down, asteroids, comets, are actually representations of these otherworldly beings. For example, in the Bible, it talks about Lucifer, how Lucifer fell from heaven, like the morning star and all that, right? Well, a lot of times when you're watching these biblical things, they'll show Lucifer falling to earth as an asteroid coming and smashing into the ground, right? A great movie from 1976 with one of my favorites, David Bowie. It was his first movie, The Man Who Fell from Earth, about a reptilian being who pretty much falls to Earth and he needs to get water for his home planet because his home planet is dying. A lot of truth in there about the nature of the reality, how the reptilians are feeding off us because their world is dying. Anyways, when he fell from Earth, he was a comet. He came down, smashed into the Earth, okay? So I believe what the asteroid comets are is they're vehicles in a way. And yes, they could come down here, but yeah, they're vehicles of alien craft. And remember, these alien beings are interdimensional beings, okay? And they could either come from one of the holes through like a Stargate type thing. You got to think in more terms of Stargates and stuff like that into our realm, interdimensionally from higher dimension and materialize physically, and they come down here. Or a lot of these crafts could come from inner Earth, okay? A lot of these crafts that we see in our daily life and whatnot, that if people are lucky enough to see them, they actually come from inner Earth, from the underground bases, okay? But in this case, I do believe that whatever we're seeing coming into the orbit, which is 33 feet long, is a good chance that is some kind of interdimensional, that alien craft that materialize physically, and it's going to be hovering over top of us for the next 2 months. And it's going to coincide with another big event we're going to talk about in a minute here that's happening in October. But also, you got to realize there's a massive things going on in the Earth right now as well, which we're also going to talk about later, but it's pretty obvious with the election, all that, massive events are coming to America and the whole world coming this month of October, okay? Again, we're going to get into that in a second. But I just wanted to say something that backs up my belief in this stuff even further is, just the other night, and this is something that's happened to me many, many times, not just the other night, but it happened to me again the other night. I was out here looking up at the stars, okay? And I was about to go inside, and I was watching. There was just two stars that were really close together, and I was just observing it, whatever. I get up to go inside, and the last second, I just had a feeling like I gotta turn around and look one last time. And I look, and I see one of these stars moving. It's moving up, 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 and the other one that was there beside it disappeared completely. And I'm watching that one star move, and then it stops, and it just stays there. And I sit there for 5, 10 more minutes watching it, and it's just sitting there as if it's a star. And I'm like, whoa, what the heck? So one just disappears out of nowhere, and there was no clouds or anything that night. And the other one literally moves and then stops. And it really hit me, And like I said, this is nothing new. I've seen this before where I've been watching the stars, and all of a sudden one star just moves, then stops, and then just stays there. A lot of these, what we think are stars, are actually ships of some sort that are watching us, watching humanity as a whole. And they're disguising themselves as stars. Because this has happened on multiple occasions for me. And I'd be very interested to hear what you guys have to say if you've witnessed this. If you did, leave it down below. Okay? But it was very strange indeed, my friends. All right? And another thing I want to say is in regards to this whole Nibiru thing, okay? About an actual second moon that you'll actually physically be able to see with your own two eyes. I do believe that is eventually going to come, okay? I believe that all this stuff we see in the media and in the news talking about, oh, second moon, it's all like predictive programming, getting you prepared for a day that you will actually see that. Because, of course, with this one, we're not going to actually see that due to it being so small. But the big reason I believe this is because of this whole Nibiru thing. I do believe that we're coming to the end of this cycle, and I do believe it's going to end with a big bang, okay, which is going to be this Nibiru cataclysm event, pole shift and all that. And I do believe at some point people are going to see probably multiple things in the sky. Some people already are. I just saw this clip on TikTok the other day. Take a look. There you go. Some people are claiming they're already seeing a second moon, and a lot of people have reported seeing a second moon past couple years and multiple suns all across the world, okay? But I do believe there's going to be a point where it's going to be visible for everyone, not just some people on TikTok. And the reason because of this is because I've had many prophetic dreams of this. I've shared this with you guys before, but for all the new people who are here who may have not have heard this story, I did have a very intense prophetic dream one time I should maybe say last year or 2 years ago. And in the dream, I was looking up in the sky and I saw the moon and another thing which looked like to be the moon. And immediately I thought, oh my goodness, it's something to do with Nibiru or something. And all of a sudden I started floating up, like I got lifted off the ground. And I started floating in the air. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm ascending or something like that, And then I woke up. But when I woke up, I was outside my body. And my soul was outside my body, astral projecting, I guess, and I looked down and I saw myself in bed sleeping, my physical self, and I was like, oh, what the F, right? And I get zoomed back in my body and pop up, and I'm like, holy crap, that's the trippiest thing I've ever seen, right? And then, like, 1 month later, I'm making a video, and I have this AI generator thing that helps come up with titles for YouTube videos and stuff. It's a YouTube help thing, okay, that uses AI titles and stuff. So I was looking at these suggested titles it had for videos, just totally random for video ideas. And what does it say? It talks about 2 moons, and it specifically mentions the night this happened. Here's a screenshot. I took a screenshot of it. So what are the chances that a month later, after this crazy experience, that this AI thing pops up on my phone and mentions the specific date and the exact dream I had. It says rapture event, right? And of course, the rapture has been linked to the ascension event. So for me, this is very personal for me about the two moons, because I saw two moons, but what I believe to be Nibiru in the dream. Okay? Mind-blowing stuff. And that's why I do believe as the years go on, things are going to get more intense. We're going to see more wild stuff. But with that being said, I don't believe it's going to be right now. I do believe we got a ways to go. Some people talk about a 2030 timeline. This stuff will happen. I'm more of the belief that it might happen closer to 2040 to 2045, 2046, somewhere in that area. But as we get closer and closer, things will get more crazier, and it's just going to be intense all around. Okay? So now I want to talk to you guys about this big October event that's coming that has to do with the planets here, okay? Before we do, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to our sponsors at Oweli, okay, for their sea moss. My friends, this is organic sea moss. This is like taking a multi-mineral and multivitamin all in one. This actually has all the 102 vital minerals, essential minerals, all packed inside, because it's got sea moss, which contains like 94 or something, but it's also got bladderwhack and burdock root, and as well as black pepper to help it absorb better. But that makes up all the minerals plus a whole host of vitamins. So this is a multi-mineral, multivitamin, give you energy, help detox. It has iodine, which detoxes the third eye. It's essential and make you feel great. I've been taking it and I feel like $1,000,000, okay? So check it out. Oweli has the best organic products around. Link is down below in the description, and there's even a coupon code that will be in the description to get you 15% off and free shipping in the United States. Now, let's get to this thing about the planets. And I know, again, I have to mention this. A lot of people will be like, oh, but Lionel, planets, space is fake, blah, 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 blah. Remember, planets are real. They're just not what you think they are. No, they're not big rock planets or something like that, big gas giants like they've told us. No, they are portals to other worlds, other dimensions, other realities, okay? And pretty much they're also got a lot of energy radiating off them and are part of this, what runs this matrix. That's why astrology is so huge, and why all the ancients spoke about astrology, and even the elites today have astrologists and do everything. All these major events happens on astrological days, whether it's full moons or lunar eclipses, solar eclipses, which is happening on October 2nd, or certain planets aligning. That's also why astrology is so accurate. When you're born on this day, when the planets were a certain way, and your characteristic traits are all similar to what other people's are. Oh, I'm a Leo, I'm a Aries, I'm a Sagittarius, whatever, right? Well, that's because the energies were a certain way on that day. So this does impact the energy of Earth. People are sensitive, knows when the planets go into retrograde, because they could feel the energetic shift. Well, we got a massive energetic shift that's happening. So it's going to be a long video, but I want to show you guys David Dubine, okay, from Adept 2030. He's got some excellent work talking about the cycles that are coming and the resets, and also about this October event. So let's take a look and see what old David has to say.
This is going to reshape our planet here.
Perfect. Okay.
Now, again, I do need to split some hairs here. Electromagnetism, gravity, and magnetics are all separate yet connected. And will there be gravitational effects because of planetary bodies lining up? That's an unknown. Some people say yes, some people say no. Will there interlooping on toroid fields of magnetic transference or possibility or potentiality occur? Again, some people say yes, some people say no. But until the events happen, we just don't know. But I guarantee we're going to learn a lot about science during this time on interlooping magnetic field currents and how those are affected by the sun and all of our planets and the interplay between those fields. We're going to learn more about this in the next 6 months than we probably have in the last 500 to 800 years in the next 6 months. So these weather fronts are getting incredible. like every time you look now, when you see these come in, people are going, oh, it's like it was predicted. You see these big fronts coming and people run for their lives, literally, and the hailstones coming down are getting larger and larger and larger. They said a world record hailstone was like 4 pounds and something over in India. And that was a biggie. So these things are starting to uptick. We go next slide. This is event number 1, what we're looking at here. All right. So on the left side, this is October 24th or between 19th and 24th of just in a couple months. On the right side there, 79 AD. And what you see is the 4 gas giants squared up. And this is about the most exact square that I can find going back through the orbital diagrams in the software and using different softwares from Solar System Scope is the one you're seeing here. You can use JPL, Universal Sandbox. But the Earth is coming through on the sandwich between those 4 gas giants. And here's the splitting of a hair. Some say that interlooping of that and the Earth going through the magnetic field from the sun and the magnetic field created by those 4 in this squaring pattern will have no effect or it will have some effect. And again, I'm not really choosing sides on the gravity thing. I am saying absolutely the potential for the human mind to unlock in a different magnetic field and perceive reality different is the thing that is most possible during this, and higher tides too. And again, higher tides would have a very disruptive effect globally. If they come in, there's more velocity, the water's heavier, it's going to rip things to shreds. If it were to, more earthquakes perhaps, but the human resonance field, perception difference, this is my main number 1 thing. It seems like the world is rushing and they don't care how sloppy they are. They need to hit this milestone or get something done before this point. The world awakens, right? So this is coming up in just a couple months. So keep your eyes on this one. A lot of different things should be occurring during this time. You're going to watch a lot of governments respond to this. It's not about the events happening and the government's playing catch up like, oh, there was an earth crack and, a bridge ripped apart from the Mississippi. Let's go repair it. They're going to already have excuses to why it's happening to prevent you from panicking. And then they'll have to put more control. Oh, now there needs to be rationing because we got a bridge broken. Every time one of the events happens, they're going to be more control like a constrictor. Next one, please. Okay, and that's what it's going to look like. So we're going to be on that magnetic field squeeze between the regular sun and then this alignment that only happens once every 2,000 years, this squaring. Now, there's different variations of it. It comes off like a rectangle sometimes. If they come into a line like it did in 1999, that's not the same. This is a square of those. So all those looping fields in on themselves, will it create something larger? That's the thing we will find out from science during this time. And would it have an effect as the Earth passes through 2 magnetic fields? Because normally we only have 1. Now, Jupiter and Saturn, they have their own magnetic fields, but what if those start to interplay on each other? What if they glow brighter? And then we start to get back into the myths and legends. What if these 2, Zeus and what if they start to glow brighter in the heavens where you can see luminosity-wise that, wow, it's much brighter up there. How are they going to respond to that on Earth and keep people calm when 2 planets start glowing brighter just magically in October? This is something to contend with as well, the perception management. Okay, and that'll be in the middle of October here to the end of October. So that's event number 1. And if we could can you go to next? Okay. And again, it's about this resonance. Now, this thing usually moves in the PowerPoint, but it's cymatics. So when you put a different frequency or vibration in something, it changes the shape of it. It changes the actual structure of it. So if there were to be some change electromagnetically because of where the planets sit in this geometry not seen in thousands of years, the way that, again, either our Earth behaves or the human behaves will be greatly affected during this time. Would you be even able to perceive that because you're inside the new magnetic field, so would you even perceive that there was a change versus being an outside looker on the way in because you're going to be encapsulated in this field as it changes? So will you even notice that it changed? That's another question. There's a lot of, things that are unknowns at this point. Can we go to the next one? And now this is another big thing. And you can't tell me with a straight face, 2 weeks ago, they started to put out all these news articles that now we have an electric field from 100 miles up all the way to the ground that has this electric frequency in it all the way around the whole planet that somehow they just discovered last 2 weeks ago. They've been talking about this for thousands of years. They talked about the ether. Tesla was tapping into this thing for wireless electricity in the 1880s. And suddenly just This last 2 weeks, they found it, they quote unquote discovered it, and the amount of news headlines on this thing, if you're into the science news, it was like the number one news headline. They verified that there's a millivolt charge and actually voltage charge difference between the ionosphere and our ground. That you could maybe tap that and create electricity and atmospheric harvest it. And then people are now suddenly, well, you know what? Not enough minerals. Let's just go ahead and use this new system. This is way better than building solar panels. Are you kidding me? All right, what's the next one there?
Actually,
then?
I've got just to pull up here. This is
please do. Yeah,
about,
that's
right?
the one. Yeah, right there. That was off the NASA feed.
Yeah, so NASA discovers long-sought global electric field on Earth, right? They're saying that a rocket team reports the first successful detection of Earth's ambipolar electric field, a weak planet-wide electric field as fundamental as Earth's gravity and magnetic fields. Quick question, right? With this, you mentioned a lot about perception management. Do you think that they're coming out and talking about this because they realize that more and more people are becoming aware of it, and they have to be able to be in front of it? Because if ordinary citizens like Ashton Forbes, for instance, who's been researching the MH370 and alternative electricity, that it's like that the average person is now talking about this stuff and talking about ether and electroculture, and that they're now trying to get out in front of it. And then they're going to have to maybe unveil it in a way they can control and they can kind of manipulate.
Yeah, but the same thing as I was saying in the beginning with global warming, the reason they gave you an excuse that the weather was going to change, so when you saw it that you wouldn't panic. The same thing with the green agenda, where they were saying windmills, solar panels, electric cars. Okay, they knew it right from the beginning there wouldn't be enough copper in the world to do. They have to mine more copper in the next 30 years than they did in the last 2,000 years to make this green transition work. So that's simple math, 30 years or 2,000 years. That's a big difference. But imagine moving over into this atmospheric harvesting. Oh, we just hopscotch that. And then suddenly they have anti-gravitics. We don't need the roads any longer. They have all of these, perpetual energy devices that are spinning. And I bet a lot of them will be based on using magnets and opposite rotational disks that'll provide you with electricity forever. But I guarantee they're not going to give it to you for free. It'll be another meter-based system or something. They'll try to say you have to pay for the Earth's magnetic field somehow, or you have to rent the device or something like this. It's very strange that all of this planetary magnetic field change talk is around the circles as well, coming out into the mainstream. And suddenly in the same weeks leading up to that October event, suddenly they find that the Earth's magnetic field, did you see what the most important thing is? It's as important as gravity. Now, for me, gravity is a big, very important part of keeping your feet on the ground. So if they're saying the atmospheric charge is just as important as gravity, well, then I think our scientists are not really scientists. They're quacks and shills. If they couldn't figure that out already, come on.
Exactly.
All right, there you guys have it. So I've seen him say, actually, in other podcasts talking about this event in October 24th, and he's saying he thinks it's even possible that whatever this electromagnetic shift is, it's going to even allow some people to start seeing the auras of people. So you're going to look at some, you'll immediately see their aura. You look at one of the elites, you'll see a black aura. You'll just see who they truly are. Pretty much the veil is going to be thinned if what he says is correct. He even admits himself that maybe this won't happen. He's just throwing this out here. But I've heard a lot of people say around this time that this might be an energetic kind of an awakening. It'll awaken a lot of people. And pretty much what it sounds like is they're kind of admitting to us that our realm is going to change. And I've been telling you guys for a long time now that we're not really in the third dimension anymore. We're rising up the dimensions, almost going into the lower fourth, which is the astral realm. And once we get into the lower fourth dimension astral realm, that's when our world becomes joined with their world. And people will actually start seeing these reptilian demonic beings all over the place. And yeah, you might see people's auras who are good, seeing good interdimensional beings because we're merging with the worlds. And they're kind of doing soft disclosure on this because they know this change is happening and there's not much they can do about it, right? So that's why maybe we're seeing these disclosures, and possibly some of this will occur this October, and maybe that's why so much chaos is going on in the world right now, okay? Like I said, October is huge because what's happening in November 5th, we have the election which is going to be huge. And a lot of people are saying we're not even going to make it to election time, that they want to pull off a major event that will happen in October that will cancel the election, some kind of black swan event. And of course, we see things heating up with Israel and Lebanon. And of course, we see things really intensifying with NATO and Russia and Ukraine, how they're sending missiles, and huge explosion happened in Russia the other day that they didn't really speak too much about, but it looked like a massive bomb went off at one of their ammo sites for, blowing up their equipment and stuff like that. And of course, we know they say if you guys attack in here, if NATO does, then it's WW3. So I'm thinking, a lot of talk about nuclear war and stuff like that. I don't think we're going to see that. I think that's just a scare tactic. I think what we're more likely to see is a grid down scenario, a blackout of some sorts. That's on the most extreme thing, but what we could see maybe right now, if they're not ready to pull that card, is possibly we might see them interfere with the election. So perhaps there will be a cyber attack, but it's not going to be one that takes down the entire grid blackout, but it'll affect things such as voting machines and some way that the voting system works, and it'll be very obvious. That could go either way, because they want civil war in the United States, right? So they could either say that Russia interfered with the elections and Donald Trump will win, and then maybe the Democrats will say, oh, it was cheating, and they'll try and remove it for Trump. That would start a lot of civil war, right? Or they can make it fairly obvious if Kamala wins, and be so obvious that they cheated again, and that'll cause civil war between them. Something's going to happen, but I'm thinking the election won't happen November 5th. It'll be postponed to a later date, but I do think the old Trumpsky is going to get in at some point, because I do believe he is the NWO's chosen guy for the job to deceive humans and pull them into the beast system. But of course, they need the savior hero guy who you think is on your side, but who isn't. I do believe he's going to be in at the end of the day, but I think there's going to be a lot of chaos to go on. And they need to distract people from whatever's going to happen in October with all this. And what if this mini moon that's going to be circulating the Earth, what if that has something to do with all this? What if it's a craft of some sort that's going to be assisting whatever's going on with the planet or the alignment? I don't know what the connection could be. Or what if it's a good craft that came from one of the good guys that's going to be trying to do something positive? I don't know. I'm trying to be optimistic here. But whatever it is it a coincidence that it's going to be orbiting for 2 months? Well, this big event with the gas giants are going to be happening. Gas giants, I know they're not actually gas giants, but that's what they call them anyways. But with these alignments of these planets, and then the mini moon, which is probably a ship, I don't think it's all just coincidence. Plus, we got the solar eclipse October 2nd. I think this goes a lot deeper than what they tell us. And I think it's interdimensional. And I think our realm is changing at a fast rate, and it's only going to continue to change and get even more chaotic. But what I have to say to you guys is don't be in fear, okay? And just observe it. This is a movie playing out. It's the most exciting time to be alive. And just be on guard. Be ready. Be prepared. Just in case, anything major does happen in October, because you never know what they plan to do. But as long as you're prepared, then you got nothing to worry about. I always say don't be scared. Be prepared. Have food. Have water. Have supplies. And don't get dragged into the chaos, and don't get dragged into the division that they want, and just be ready for anything. All right, my friends? So time will tell. Now we just observe the situation, see what plays out. Okay, my friends? So that about does it for today's video. I hope you guys found it informational, entertaining. I'd love to hear what you guys have to think about it. Leave a comment down below. And of course, if you enjoy my guys' work, as you could see before, I have that little buy me a coffee thing. I'm on the website, Buy Me a Coffee. And hey, if you guys want to go to that website and pitch in, buy a couple coffees, I will send you some exclusive Patreon videos that you won't get anywhere else to your email as a thank you. All right, my friends? And yeah, that about does it. But what means most to old Lionel is just hearing your feedback, getting that subscription and a like. All right, my friends. So until next time, Lionel signing off. I hope you guys have a good one and stay safe, yeah?